Hello everybody and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time a friend of mine asked me if I could take a look at this FUJI GW690. It's the professional 6.9 and the version 3, as you can see here. And because maybe you already can see it here, it has a little problem. If we take a closer look down to somewhere around here, it has a loose shutter blade. So I was thinking, how can I come into that? It was necessary to make some tools, at least 2 of those. This is for the back lens group, which is made out of a 32 millimeter wrench top, and it was also necessary to use another wrench top, which is 28 millimeter, and make 2 pins here. You might see them here. And it's also with this one for the lens. I made 2 pins which can go into the back lens group. So and of course a little spring, which is quite handy when taking out some stuff. And yeah, let's jump into it. We need to take off the front lens first. Because we need to take one screw out here somewhere on the front. We do not necessarily take off the whole front, it's not necessary. And when I have done that, it's quite easy to get the back, because we need to take off the front lens, the back lens group, and the retaining ring that holds the shutter in place. So let's just take the very necessary parts away. I need the number 6 cone, which you probably can see here. And since I've been into it, it's a bit easier to unscrew. So and that's it actually. It did not sit that tight, so we can unscrew it and get that out, so we can have a look inside what's actually going on. One can take the front end, it's just that, there's nothing else. And then we can see 3 screws sitting here, there, and there. It's actually the exposure ring, which we can, if we take the hood, the lens hood out, we can see it sits here. And it's actually what's going on in here. It moves the exposure ring around the shutter. And we could just set it to whatever we want. 1 second could be fine. So let's just do that and unscrew the 3 screws holding this up. That it is not really that important. It took me a while to figure out how I could take out the shutter because of the repair manual for this version 3. It seems to be a little different from the version 1 or 2. They're slightly different, but then we can lower the lens hood and then take out the exposure ring. It's not really anything special about that. And then we look more into the shutter itself. You see, to get it out, there's something we need to unscrew and we need to unsolder. You see this part here, we just need to unsolder one from the shutter itself. But we also need to unscrew this screw because it is engaged with the aperture ring. So one needs to set the aperture ring to, oh, difficult to see, set the aperture ring to 32, which we will do now. Just move it all the way up to here, because then this screw will be exposed, so we can unscrew it. And it simply sits into here, and it's actually the only connection. There's no need for taking out the two handles here, this one and this one, because it seems actually to be very fragile plastic, which is not that good shape. So we can take this out. And now the shutter is actually free of, the only connection is the wire that we will take out. And of course, and you can see here, this is the, when you press the shutter button, this one will go that way and fire the shutter. On the other hand, this is over here, it will do to wind the shutter up, cock the shutter, and when you press the shutter button on top of, or on the front, this one will go to that way and simply fire the shutter. We also take this little screw off, which is holding the ground of the flash sink. So yeah, you see the steel ball sits in here is actually the diameter of, yeah, you can have it here. It's 2.32 millimeter. Just so we have that in mind. And yeah, that's also good information about that. And now we can, so everything is almost done. We can just take this out. And in this case, I only use a 2.5 millimeter JIS screwdriver, just so we know that it has to be JIS. Phillips screwdriver, well, if you want to worn out your screws also, so it's better to use the correct tool. And then we can flip the camera over and look into the back. So here we see what's happened inside. You see the back lens group is this one down here. And there are two notches on here, which is, I can see somebody else has been in there, but and I actually painted black because it was a little, well, you could see some metal, and I will do it again, of course. And this is what the big tool here, I will say the 32 millimeter tool, which I have here with the 2 pin. And that will just unscrew. It's a bit tight when I unscrew it. And of course it will not be that tight too at the moment. And we need to set the focus to infinity, because then it has the shortest distance from the lens group up to here, the back. It will be a little easier It's not, I mean, well, it's a bit annoying to have the back here, but I don't think it's not necessary in this case. Even though there should sit 3 screws on the front here, which one can unscrew and then take it out, but it's not necessary in my case here. So I can do that, put this in here, and I also set some marks here where I can see it's just easier to put the tool in and catch the 2 notches. So there, and it has to sit good. There was some old, we can just take that to keep that in mind. There was some of this old foam. This is new from Liqui-Moly. It was totally worn out. So when I put my tool in, it just gets so gunky and old glue. So it was not that good. So we can just unscrew it here and have a good press on it. So yeah, there, and then it's free. I mean, in real case, when I took it out first, it sit extremely tight. So one have to have a good grip on this and a good tool. So then it should be free there. But it's not that easy to catch down there. So that's why I made this spring tool, just a piece of steel, which I can stick down to here. And in that way pull up the lens without any problem. This is the back lens. As you can see here, I actually tried to add a lot of acetone, or not acetone, it's called isopropyl alcohol on a cotton bud. So I dig down to here, the gap between here, which on both sides here, to simply soften the thread lock, and it sits quite tight. So the next thing is the you see the retaining ring down here, which I can see somebody else has been there to make a lot of scratch. And I also made a tool for this. This is the 28 millimeter, which I make those 2 small pins. And it works really good. First I try with the lens tool, I mean a huge compass, which also it's actually finally I get it out, and it sits extremely tight, I can tell. So keep that in mind, that the things here is extremely tight. So again, I made those marks here, so it will be easy to catch the 2 notch down here. And there is not really much space, and since I can see here from my monitor, it's down there. So, and again, this was also extremely, let's just take that. I add a lot of isopropyl alcohol around here to simply get the ring loose. I mean, soften the thread lock. So this is the inside of the shutter, and the ring of course sits in the outside of this ring here. And of course you have to add the isopropyl alcohol around here in that area. Do not too much, but it actually is very important, since if you do not that, you will not really get it out that easy. So I can just put it down here and it sits with a good fit. So there, and with a big wrench handle and a good, you have to really take care of the camera does not move too much. So you can see it works. So now it's loose enough so I can turn the but remember one thing. Right now there is nothing that holds the shutter in place, so we need to do one thing, and that I will put the front lens screw into place, because if not, the shutter will just, you can see it's loose here. I'll just put this in again, but not fully tighten it. It has to see, I mean, it has to be flush with the front here, because then I can turn it over, open the camera here, and simply unscrew the retaining ring without any problem. But make sure you do not lift the camera up, because then the shutter will just fall out. So we do this, and we'll see, you will sooner see that yeah, the thread here is I think I have seen better days because of the thread lock they put in. It's quite long thread. So I think it's free. Yeah, it's free. So now I can hopefully use a tweezer. Yeah, now you can see it here. There may become some small dust, metal dust from the retaining ring, but it's nothing really special. We will blow it out anyway. I will of course open the shutter and get the blade into correct place. Now we can close the back door here and have a finger under the front, because it's loose at the moment. So now I can turn the front lens, and then it's here. So now the shutter is actually free and one can take it out. There's not really much to be aware of that, but do not turn the winder, because everything has to be in place. You can maybe do it later, but this is just for now. So we can lift the shutter out here, and there should be a long wire here. So we can just see here. If we look here, you can see how it's all black. Of course it is. But there's only one wire from the shutter onto this small circuit board. I haven't taken that out, because I would wait until the moment where I disassemble the camera. So we can have this here standing there, and with a soldering tool we can simply heat up. So, and now it's free. This one wire is actually go directly into the shutter, and then we can take it out. You see, it cannot really sit in a wrong position because the aperture pin here, this connection to here, is connected to the via the screw. So the shutter can only sit there, and of course the wire from the sink, which go to the circuit board, can only also sit in one place. And you see there are two small pins here, there and there, and they go into the two notch here. So the shutter, when you put the shutter in, it will sit where it should, and that's it. So it's quite easy. So when we assemble it again, we just need to have this pin here sit against this pin here, and of course the other, which we hopefully can see here, this one also push against this side, because this pin here is actually when you cock the shutter, and this pin up here is actually when you push it, it will fire the shutter. So that's it, and then we can see the loose aperture plate, and especially if I open the aperture here. Oh, there was a little metal part here, so it's away. But you can see here when I open the aperture and move this pin here, we can also go on the back and see it, how it works. So it's not really that, I think it's not that difficult to come in like another SEIKO shutter, but of course we have to check everything. So that was the first part of it. So I can just put the camera away and end this part, so you will go to the next part, and I will show how it's with my new small tool. Those two parts here, which is quite interesting tools, because it will make it much easier to assemble the shutter. It's the only purpose I made them for. I have never seen a tool like this, but I don't know what they did in the factory back then, but this one makes it so much easier. So it's actually only made from old camera parts. So we'll see in the next video that I go dig into the shutter and fix it and put the shutter into the camera again. So see you sooner. Bye bye.